Hi guys, this is Thunder E from Booredatwork, and what you're looking at is a HTPC. So we sat down and we decided we should do a HTPC build. Sam did one with its AMD, and we decided to do a Haswell HTPC build. And this one was pretty much a fun project. We wanted to do something that was pretty much overpowered for HTPC, not necessarily needed, but something you can actually game with and fit that profile. So we'll go over some of the things we have inside. This is not actually a build process, but just showing you what the build is, and we'll show you the back end of the motherboard and why we picked it and all that fun stuff. So the case here is a Fractal design case. This is the Node 605, I believe. And what I like about this case is that you flip down the front of the case here. You can see it's got access, and I'm just going to drop down my camera so you get a better view of that there, and kind of zoom in a little bit. So what you do have here is you do have Firewire, you have a mic, headphone jack, you've got two USB 3.0s, and you've also got like an SD card slot reader here in the front, which is pretty cool that you have all that. So you've got the nice connectivity, but it's got this nice flush finish that makes it look like a stereo sound system, if you will. I'm gonna zoom back out again, raise that up. So it kind of looks like you have a receiver, and we'll flip it around and show you the sides of back and sides of the case. So that's the back side. Of course, you can see a panel structure here for our motherboard. We also using a graphics card. We went with the GTX 670 Mini, which we did the unboxing a couple of days ago. And we also have a cable card here, and you can see our power supply here. Also, this is a Corsair HX850 power supply, and we have a bunch of ports here now. We do have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 USB ports at the back. We've got 4 2.0 and 6 3.0. We do a plethora of course, ports for our audio. We have an Ethernet jack, which is gigabit into Ethernet. We've got HDMI out. We've got optical, and that's pretty much that. So let's go in and take a look at what's inside the case. So let's take a look at the internals of this. Let's open this up. Now, because this case is pretty tiny and tight, cable management is not that great this time, so I do apologize for that. So you look at a couple of things here. We actually have the Asus Maximus 6 Genie. This is a Republic of Gamer board. So it's one of those boards that you know, people tend to like, but also can have issues with installing drivers. I did have some issues. For some reason, didn't have the Ethernet drivers built in there. But what I did like about this board, you see, it's got the start and reset buttons. So basically, I can actually test out the board before even doing anything. And if you look on the, I don't know, I'm going to pull the camera out here quickly. If you look at this corner over here, it has actually an LED indicator that gives you the error message and error codes on the board. So in case you have any kind of errors, put the light on there, you can actually see that on the board, which is pretty cool. Now we went again with the Haswell Core-i7 processor here. So we do have that. We're using the stock fan now until we find a better fan that actually fits, because all the fans we had were a little bit too high. Now you can see our GeForce GTX Direct CU mini card here just fits in and takes up those 2 slots. And we do have our cable card from Seaton. This is a 4 recording cable card. We don't have a cable card yet, waiting for Comcast to send that over for us as we do that. Now in terms of our hard drives, this is where the hard drive bay is, and if you guys can see that clearly, we do have 2 hard drives here. It's going to be hard to actually see in, but we do have a 1 terabyte hard drive for storage, and then we do have a 250 gigabyte Kingston hard drive SSD for use for, of course, running Windows and things like that. And here's where the bad boy is. I'm going to remove the RAM slot just to show you. This is some very nice RAM that we picked up for this. So we went with 32 gigabytes of RAM because that's the max this board supports. But we do have, and you guys can see that here, this is the Trident DDR3 2800 RAM here. This thing is a beast. You can see the thermal sink on here. This RAM will set you, 32 gigabytes will set you back a pretty penny. So you can also go with different slots, but we wanted to go with as max as possible. We put in, we definitely wanted to get that whole feel of having the max kind of processing on here for this device in terms of processor, in terms of graphics card, and also in terms of memory. Now, oh, I think I put this the wrong way. There we go. Silly mistakes you make while building computers. Now, the other thing to know is that we actually try to cool this as much as possible to create a very cool system here, because if you're going to run this, a lot of this kind of power in a tight space, especially you going with that, we go with the 850 power supply, you want a lot of cooling in here. So I'm going to pull this out again and show you some of the cooling. So instead of putting the heat sink, which we have, I believe, sorry, right here, this is the heat sink. I mean, this is a cooling fan for the G.Skills RAM, which should just be kind of annoying to place in here. We went with placing a fan right here. So we had 140 mm fan. We do have another 140 mm fan which blows onto the hard drives. And then we have two here 80 mm fans on this side. I'll show you that here clearly. So basically give you a very cool arena around what we have in here. So let's go ahead. Setting this up didn't take us too long. It was pretty quick. It was probably an hour or so, just because I've got big fingers. But we did had issues with the board which we had to replace, but it was pretty easy. And we're going to set up, of course, with Windows Media Center. But what I wanted to show you was actually the interface for the Asus Maximus 6G. All right, I'm highlighting some of the things you find in the BIOS with the Asus ROG motherboard that we use for this build. You can see it's a visual BIOS, so you can actually go in and highlight and change a lot of things you have. But you can see our clock speed there for our Haswell processor. Our RAM speed there's clocked at 1333, and you can go in and overclock if you want to. Right now, set auto. We can set the minimum CPU cache ratio. We can go in and just check some of the main stuff here. Advanced settings. We do have your monitor for voltage, temperature, and fan speed. So go in there and check all those and see how cool the system is and how cool we want to keep. And of course your boot setup. So that's pretty much what we did with the Haswell HTPC build. I know it's kind of an overkill. Usually for HTPCs you use, you know, say a mid-range processor or an AMD processor, but we wanted to get something that was fully inept and also capable of handling some serious gaming if we wanted to. So definitely we are going to load up Steam on here, do some solid gaming because we can, and also we can run this as a DVR if we want to. But just showing you that and highlighting all those different features. So if you guys have any questions or any comments, let us know. Don't forget to subscribe to all our pages on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. It's all Booredatwork with 2 O's. So this is Thunder E saying thank you and always enjoy your entertainment.